Very good morning, students. Now we will discuss about a case study on status of farm mechanization under animal farming in Chhattisgarh state. To introduce about myself, I am Dr. Sadil Kumar, Associate Professor in the Department of Agricultural Engineering, SNS College of Technology, Coimbatore. To say about the introduction of our topic, that what we are going to discuss today, in the context of increasing commercialization, that we know that the agriculture is itself becoming highly commercialization right now of agriculture. Mechanization is of very much importance. In India, the energy of plowing, 2/3 of cultivated areas comes from animal power. We know that lot of farm implements are there, farm mechanization are there. More and more of equipments are used, either maybe hand tools, power tillers, tractors, etc. Whatever it may be, even though there are lots of machineries are there, we can see as a census, we can see nearly 2/3 of our cultivated areas come from our animal power. That means we should know that the source of power from animal is being very important in our country. A study was conducted in 6 districts of Chhattisgarh state to assess the level of draft animals power utilization in agriculture and allied activities. It is a case study which discusses. Actually, the thing is that in the villages of Chhattisgarh, a questionnaire was prepared. Nearly 20 to 30 questions were asked to nearly farmers in 36 villages in Chhattisgarh. Nearly in each village 10 farmers were answered or responded to the questions, and based on the responses this case study was prepared. And to say the outline of this case study, by personal interview using a structured questions, 360 respondents were selected from 36 villages. As I said, 36 villages were selected, and from each village 10 farmers were asked these questions. Based on the response from the villages or the farmers, this case study is being prepared. 10 farmers from each village, as I said, suitable improved animal draft implements for small and marginal farmers need to be developed and should be subsidized by the government. The main thing that is the request from the farmers is that it is necessary to go for either he may be a small farmer or a medium farmer. It is necessary to go for the mechanization. At the same time, it is difficult for the farmers to go for funding. So they are asking for subsidy from the government. Since majority of the farmers are small, it is the main hurdle in the adoption of big farm machinery. We know the cost of machinery is very high. So main thing, most of the farmers are small farmers. They are asking for the subsidy from the government. To say about the status of draft animals population in our country, what is its status right now, we should know. So draft animals play a dominant role in our rural economy. So rural means we know city comes under the urban, and so we can say about the villages, we used to say it as the rural. So in case of rural population, these draft animals plays an important role. That means in case of agriculture, either in primary tillage or in case of secondary tillage, or whatever may be the implements that is used in case of agriculture, we are using animal as the source for mainly. Instead of going for tractor or any other power tiller equipments, we are using animal drawn implements in case of these villages. The draft power of 83 million draft animals is estimated equivalent to 30,000 megawatt in terms of electric power. That means when we are comparing with the power that is given by the draft animals, it is equivalent to 30,000 megawatt in terms of electric power, equivalent to half the percent generated capacity of the India. That means when we are going for the power generation of a country, the power generated by means of draft animals is nearly half of the power generation by our country. In terms of energy, it is equivalent to 50,000 million units worth of 10,000 crores. That means per year the generation by means of animal is equivalent to 10,000 crores. At present, draft animals are being used to plow around 100 million hectares of just 100 million hectares of farmlands in India are being plowed by means of the draft animals, which form 60% of total cultivated area. Out of the total cultivated area in India, these animal draft animals cultivation comes to up to 60%. Just assume such a high amount is being used, then there is a two-step utilization of animal energy. Even though such a large quantity of animals, large amount of animals are there, that is draft animals are there, but the utilization of the animals is being restricted in many of the villages. We will see about these things. So there is a low level of utilization of draft animal power in the particular specified village of Chhattisgarh. The major reason put forward include land availability. We know very well the farmers, either he may be a small farmer or a medium farmer, the land that is in his name, that means land availability is restricted. So we can't say if the farmer or the landlord is owning a lot of land in his own name, then no problem, he can go from any mechanization. But here it is not so. In case of small farmers and medium farmers, it is a big question mark whether to implement this mechanization or not, because for the purpose of farm mechanization it involves lot and lots of cost to be involved. So it is a great problem. Similarly, availability to access to credit. So the governments, either the state government or central government, is giving lots and lots of plan for the purpose of giving credit to the farmers. So the availability to access the credit is an important issue. Similarly, supply of equipment and other spare parts. We know very well it is easy for us to purchase any implement that is used for the agriculture, but at the same time for repairing as well as servicing is quite difficult right now, because the person who is supplying will be from somewhat far away from our native district. So in case of servicing these equipments, it will be quite difficult for us, and diseases, some of the diseases spreading by means of this. So 50% of all draft animals owners use this animal for tillage. That's as I said earlier, tillage, we used to say it is the initial stage in case of land preparation. Either it may be a wetland preparation, dry land preparation, or the combination of both dry land and wetland preparation. So the first stage is the tillage. We used to say it as the primary tillage. So 50% of draft animals, that means the farmers, those who are owning the draft animals, mainly they are using for the purpose of tillage and transport. That means for taking the load from one place to another place. Mainly the draft animals are used for tillage as well as for the transportation purpose, but the type of use varied. Somewhat there are areas where farmers use the animals predominantly for transport. As I said, as we have inquired to more than 360 questions, we have came across 360 questions, that is 36 villages we have came across. From each village 10 farmers from a village. So we came to an idea that they are mainly using the draft animals for the purpose of transportation. That is notably the central region, where in northern region as well as their draft animals predominantly for tillage. As I said, either it is mainly used for tillage or it is used for the purpose of transportation. From a survey of labor saving technologies for rural women reported that all respondents used for the animals for weeding. That means simple hoe. That means instead of going for any mechanization, they are using the simply hand tools like hoe for the purpose of weeding. That means for the purpose of removing of the weeds. They also reported their farmers without draft animals hired animals traction for land preparation and for transport. That means even though if they are not having the draft animals of their own, they are going for hiring. That means for per hour, like such 50 rupees, 30 rupees, like they are going for hiring of the animals. Now to say about the need for mechanization, we know very well our country is somewhat developing right now, and for our country, in our India, agriculture is our main thing. That is backbone of our country is the agriculture. That agriculture as well as productivity can be improved only by means of this mechanization. Why we are going for this mechanization? Let us see in this slide. It is need for mechanization. So the following constraints to rise for mechanization in Kerala. That means in case of Kerala, we are considering what are the various constraints that is to be considered. Small size of holding, as I said, the farmers, we can't expect that all the farmers or like landlords, they are owning lots and large quantity of land in their own. There are more number of small holding farmers are there than economical backwardness of the farmers. As I said, that the economical situation is being very restricted, very low for them. That means they are creating credit from the either from the society, from the government, or from large landlords, so that they are going with the sowing as cultivation work. When they are going with the harvesting, what they will do from the money what they get, they used to pay back the amount, that the credit amount that what they have got. So economical backwardness, then lack of sufficient credit facility. As I said, farmers are in lot of trouble. We can see in the daily news also, we can see lots of news are coming that farmers are in such trouble, lot of credit, they are very much disturbed. Like that, we can see lots of news are coming in our day-to-day news channel. That means this shows the economical backwardness of the farmers. That means the amount that they are owning is somewhat, most of them are having no money in their hand. Next to say lack of sufficient credit facility, then lack of promotional subsidies. As we know very well that lots and lots of money is being allocated for the purpose of development of agriculture in our country, but they think there is lack of subsidy. That means actually the farmers didn't know where to go, to whom to contact, as well as what are the various schemes that is available for the farmer for the purpose of getting this subsidy. So this is itself a great problem for them. Then unemployment problem, this is evergreen problem for past 50 to 60 years. It is important problem in our country. Not only in other sector, agriculture sector is also facing the same problem. Next to say inadequacy of research and field trials. So this inadequacy, that means they are lagging. They don't know how to do the work, how to incorporate, how to implement, like that they don't know. Then lack of location specific and production oriented research on the farm machinery using electric power. That means proper research facilities are not available, which implement or which machinery is to be used. That is particularly they don't know about the thing that is to be used. And lack of appropriate equipment to suit the regional requirement of the state. As I said, depending upon the soil, depending upon the rain condition, the equipments or the mechanization that we are going to implement may get varied. So lack of knowledge which implement is to be used, to whom we want to approach, what is the amount that we are going to invest, what is the type of irrigation facility that we are going to do, like this. There are the various parameters is to be considered. Next to say about scarcity of infrastructural facility for existing activities in the field of farm machinery. Even though if they are going for purchase of the machinery, if they are whether they are having enough infrastructure for the purpose of storage of this implement is itself a big question for them. Then lack of facilities to train farmers in the use of improved farm equipment. So there are lot of equipments are there, implements are there. Also not only from our country, even we are getting most of the implements from Japan, Korea, China, etc. But the thing is that it will be easy for us to purchase those implements. But the thing, how to train the farmers or the person one who is operating the implement is itself a great issue. At the same time, if there is any repair in the machineries, the servicing is also a great issue for the farmers to go for farm mechanization. And absence of village artisans to supply hand tools and animal drawn implements. So these are the various things for which we are going for the mechanization. So these are some of the difficulties in the manual or the conventional methods, and so we are going for the mechanization. Next, to say the conclusion. To say the conclusion, farm mechanization is a different area of high-tech agriculture, not in the conventional method. We can say this is a high-tech method of agriculture in which modern machines are being put to use for land preparation, land development, intercultural operations, sowing, transplantation, harvesting, threshing, etc. Not only for the purpose of tillage, but also for the purpose of sowing, for the purpose of plant protection, for the purpose of cultivation, harvesting, threshing. In all the areas of agriculture, we are using more and more equipments as well as the modern technologies as well as machineries for our agriculture. Simply it means the use of machinery for farm operation in the place of human and cattle. Instead of using human laborers as well as the cattle that we are using for agriculture, we are replacing that by means of modern machineries as well as the technologies. Farm mechanization has been useful to bring out the agriculture improvement in the agriculture productivity. No doubt we can say the productivity when while we are comparing with the normal human with the animals, while we are comparing with the mechanization of agriculture, surely we can say up to nearly 2 or 3 times of the productivity will be increased, but at the same time the cost involved will be more. So the farmer, the landlord, he should decide about his financial position before going for this farm mechanization. Now finally, to say about these are the various references, various papers which I have gone through for the purpose of preparing this case study. So thanks for watching this video. Thank you my students. Thank you all.